In this video, we will study dynamics of liquid flow. And we will mainly concentrate on the topic Poisson equation related to viscosity. We will consider a pipe having length L and radius R, through which the liquid will flow under a pressure difference P1 minus P2. Here the pressure is P1, here it is P2. So the difference in pressure P1 minus P2 will guide the flow of the liquid. Now the difference in pressure is also a pressure, so for simplicity let us symbolize it as P. Now the length of the pipe is L and the radius of the pipe is R. When liquid flows through this pipe, to have the steady flow, the opposing force that is acting within the liquid tangentially backward, that is the viscous force, must get balanced by this difference in pressure. Now the liquid layer, which is in contact with the inner wall of this pipe, will remain stagnant. Its velocity will be 0. And as we approach towards center, it increases and the velocity becomes maximum at the center. Now let the velocity at a certain position x from the center be v. So this is x and velocity of the liquid at this position be v. So velocity at r equal to 0 and say velocity at x be v. We approach a very small amount from x towards the end of the pipe from the center, away from the center by a very little amount, say it to be dx. Now as the velocity drops from the center towards the end of the pipe, with increase in dx from x, there will be a velocity drop. So for dx change, it is plus, the change in velocity will be minus dv. Don't say decrease is minus dv, then these two terms will imply increase in velocity. Say either change in velocity is minus dv or decrease in velocity by an amount dv. So the velocity gradient that is being generated at x is minus dv dx. The force that is acting tangentially backward is the viscous force, and which is given by the Newton's law of viscosity, which I have discussed earlier. It will be F equals to eta into A to minus dv dx. Now to find the area of contact, we have to multiply the circumference at x which is 2 pi x, this one, with the length of the pipe. So this circumference 2 pi x when multiplied by the length of the pipe, that will give the entire surface area of this pipe, within the pipe. So we will put here 2 pi x multiplied by the length of the pipe, that is L. Now this will remain as before, eta and minus dv dx. Now this force will be exactly balanced by the pressure difference. Now pressure is not equal to force, so pressure multiplied by the area upon which the pressure is acting will give us the force, and that force, when balances this opposing force, then only the steady flow of the liquid is guaranteed. So the reason for the flow is this pressure difference, but we have to multiply this pressure by the area. So pressure is force per unit area into area, so that will be force, then this will be equal to the opposing force for guarantee of the steady flow of the liquid in this direction through the pipe. Now what is the area? The area within this radius x is pi x square, this area. So it will be pi x square into p, which will be equal to eta 2 pi xl into minus dv dx. Now we are eager to find the velocity, so we keep dv in the left hand side and take everything to the right hand side. So it will give us pi x square p, and here it will be eta 2 pi x l, and then we will have dx here and the negative sign here, or dv equals to minus this pi x will cancel out, we will get p upon 2 eta l, it will be x dx. Now we will integrate. For a particular experiment, p will remain constant, eta is constant for a particular liquid, L will also be kept constant. So integrating, we will have V here, and here this constant will come out, P upon 2 eta L, and this is x dx, so its integration will be x to the power 1 plus 1 by 1 plus 1, so it will be x square by 2. Now this is the integration constant I. When x equal to r, then V will be 0. Since the liquid layer in contact with the inner walls of the pipe is stagnant, that is at a distance r from the center. Since the pipe is having radius r, it will be the surface, inner surface of the pipe, so their velocity will be 0. So we can write here, when x equal to r, V will be equal to 0, and if we put here this relation, we will get 0 equals to minus P upon 2 eta L r square by 2 plus I. So I equals to, we take this to the left hand side, it will be P upon 2 eta L r square by 2. Now we put this value in this integrated equation so that it gives us velocity to be minus P upon 2 eta L x square by 2, it is positive, plus P upon 2 eta L r square by 2. Now we can take this P upon 4 eta L as common. So this P upon 4 eta L, and we will get here r square minus x square This is the expression for velocity of the liquid. Now the velocity of the liquid will depend on the position from the center. The more we approach towards the center, velocity will increase, and the more we approach towards the end, velocity will decrease. That is guaranteed by the position of x square here. See, towards the center, the value of x will be less, so less amount will be subtracted, so there will be increase in velocity, and at the end it will be r square, so r square minus r square equal to 0, so velocity will be 0, and more the pressure exerted, more will be the force that will drive the liquid, so more will be the velocity, and more the viscosity, more will be the resistance to flow, so less will be the velocity, and more the length of the pipe, more will be the area of contact, and so less will be the velocity. So this equation seems to us to be perfect. Now, what this equation can do? This can help us in many ways, especially to the liquid engineers, to tune the pressure for a desired velocity of liquid. More the viscosity of the liquid, more pressure must be exerted to maintain constant velocity. More the length of the pipe, more the pressure one must exert. So this explains the requirement of pumping station in midways of crude oil transport from mine to refinery. This I am telling just for a practical use of this equation. Now another area of interest is the volume of liquid that flowing through unit time through the tube. So there must be a target, if we consider the previous example of delivering a definite volume of liquid within a definite period of time, then you must have a knowledge on the relation of volume of liquid flowing through unit time through the tube, through any cross section of the tube, and the factors that controls that phenomena. So by tuning those factors, you will be able to set your target. Now the volume of liquid flowing through unit time through the tube, it can be expressed as dV/dt. So this is the volume of the liquid flowing per unit time. Now how to get it? For this, we have to evaluate the picture. This 2 pi x is the circumference at x in the cross section. Now when we multiply it by dx, so 2 pi x into dx, it will give this area, this concentric area. Now one may ask that these two circles are having the different areas, then how 2 pi x when multiplied by dx gives us the area of this concentric circle? We must subtract the area of the small circle from the large circle. So let us check this. So it will be pi x plus dx whole square minus pi x square. So this is the large circle and this is the small circle. So when we subtract it, we will get this concentric area. Now this will be given as pi x square plus it is 2x dx, so it will be 2 pi x dx plus dx square into pi and minus pi x square. So this will cancel out and we will get 2 pi x dx plus pi dx square. So what we are predicting, that the circumference 2 pi x when multiplied by dx will give us this concentric area is actually wrong, because the difference in these two areas is 2 pi x dx plus pi dx square. Now what will happen if dx tends to 0? When dx tends to 0, we can neglect this term to a very good approximation, since square of a very small term will be negligible. So at this position only, when dx tends to 0, we will have the area of the concentric circle to be 2 pi x dx. So this dx must be very small. Then only we can express the area 2 pi x dx. This will be the area of the concentric circle. Now when we multiply this area by velocity, what will happen? Velocity means distance travelled per unit time. So distance travelled when multiplied by the concentric area will give us the volume. So this was the concentric area. When we multiply it by V, means distance travelled by per unit time, so this will give the volume of this concentric cylinder. Now per unit time, so it will give volume per unit time. Now this is the entire volume of the liquid. So to have the entire volume of the liquid, we have to scan this x from 0 to r. That is, this is the actual cross section of the pipe. So we have to scan it from 0 to r. So we have to integrate this from 0 to r. Then this 2 pi x is the circumference into dx when multiplied, and when dx is very small, it will be the concentric area. When it is multiplied by v, it will be distance travelled multiplied over this area, so it will be centimeter square into centimeter. So volume of the concentric cylinder, and here it is per unit time, so it will be volume per unit time, and when it is scanned from 0 to r, it will give the entire volume per unit time. So this expression can only give us the volume of liquid flowing through unit time through the tube. Flowing per unit time, this is not through, flowing per unit time through the tube. So it will be integration 0 to r. Here we have 2 pi x dx, and it is p upon 4 eta L r square minus x square. Two will cancel, so we have a 2 here. Eta constant, it will come out of the integration. L is constant. Pressure difference is kept constant. So this pi will come out, and we will be left with integration 0 to r square minus x square into x dx. equal to pi p upon 2 eta L r square x dx minus x cube dx from 0 to r. R square will come out of the integration and integration of x dx will be x square by 2 limit 0 to r. Integration of x cube will be x to the power 4 upon 4 limit 0 to r. Pi p upon 2 eta L. Now this r, when you put here, it will be r square into r square, it will be r to the power 4 by 2 minus, it will be 0 here. Again this will be r to the power 4 upon 4 and minus plus, it will be 0. Or the volume of liquid flowing through the tube per unit time is pi p upon 2 eta L. We take r to the power 4 common. So it will be half minus 1 by 4. So there will be 1 by 4 left. So it will be 1 by 4. So you get the final expression. Pi p r to the power 4 upon 8 eta L. Also, we can express eta in terms of the remaining factors. So it will be eta equals to pi p r to the power 4 upon 8L del v del t. Now for finite change, this will be v and this will be t. So this is the famous Poiseuille equation. Now we have the P is the pressure difference that is applied across the tube, R is the radius of the tube, V is the volume of the liquid that flows through the tube in time t, L is the length of the pipe. So eta is related to these factors, and this will help us to solve problems related to liquid engineering. Now I will give you a homework. Please post it in the comment section. So design a detailed procedure with which you can determine the viscosity of an unknown liquid using Poiseuille equation. Now you will be provided with this instrument. You suck a liquid after putting it through this end, through this side, and when it reaches above A, just release it. It will come down. When it crosses A, start your stopwatch. It comes down gradually, and when it crosses B, stop your stopwatch. Count the time required for the flow from A to B. Now here is a capillary to guarantee the steady flow, since in case of turbulent flow, you cannot apply this Poiseuille equation. So whatever may be the liquid, you will be able to determine the time of flow. So this is the time, and volume is definite, since for all liquids you will start your stopwatch when it crosses A, and you will stop your stopwatch when it crosses B. So this will be definite amount of volume. Now the capillary has a fixed radius, so no problem. You will use the same instrument. Length of the pipe, this is also fixed. Pressure difference, that may vary depending upon the density of the liquid. So design a procedure and explain the procedure. Hence it is written the detailed procedure with which you can determine the viscosity of an unknown liquid, provided you will be supplied with the viscosity and density of water at the laboratory temperature, that is the temperature of the day at which you are doing the experiment.